Just got the motherfucking Popeyes 5-piece with the cage. Just walking in the mashed potatoes. Shit.
Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Coming to you with another Navy / boot camp / y'all got questions on some stuff and I have answers for you type video. So I've been getting a lot of questions about what you can and cannot do at ROM. So that's pretty much what this video is going to be about. So give me a second because I'm hungry and I'm going to order some pizza and then I'll be right back. Can we just talk about how amazing Domino's is that they just save your orders and everything? Like, hell yeah, all I have to do is click 2 buttons. Can we get a hoo-yah Domino's? All right, now that we got that out the way, let's jump right into the video. So I'm pretty much going to tell you what I do and do not know about what you can and cannot do at ROM. So when I shipped out in September, before my class, before me, I'm pretty sure there were people before me that were also in the same predicament. I don't know them though. So we're just gonna talk about before my experience. People were allowed to go to Great Wolf Lodge, which is like some hotel nearby, and they would do their 2 weeks quarantine in this hotel. Now you would have a schedule that you had to follow where you had to, like, I don't know, let's say like clean or work out or read your training guide or whatever the hell they did, and they did not do clearly. So you would have to do that. At Great Wolf Lodge, you were allowed to wear your own clothes, also known as civvies. You were allowed to have your phone. You can watch TV. You could bring like a gaming system, like a little portable game. I've heard people bring like their laptops and stuff. Like, you know, you could do all of that at the hotel. It's pretty much like a freaking resort vacation before you went to go do your 6 to 8 weeks or however long boot camp was at that time, before you went to do your 6 to 8 weeks of hell at RTC. But the Navy is cheap. You're gonna learn this coming in. No offense to the, you know, big Navy up there, but it's true. And paying for like thousands of recruits to continuously come in and stay at a hotel for 2 weeks, it gets pretty pricey. So they killed that, and they started doing ROM at an Army base. So this is where my group comes in. So I can tell you everything I know about the Army base that I'm allowed to tell you. I'm not going to go too much into detail, so don't ask too many questions. But to start off with, so everyone did theirs differently, but I think what they're doing from now on with the Army base ROM is you're gonna have your night of arrival that first day. So when you get off the plane in Chicago, you're gonna go straight to RTC, and you might be thinking to yourself, if the whole point of me doing quarantine is to not bring COVID onto the base, then why am I going to the base as soon as I get off the plane? It's a great question. I don't have that answer for you. Sort of, kind of do, but I don't. Anyway, so you're gonna go do your night of arrival. You're gonna get a good portion of your uniform issue items, and you're not gonna get these your first night. You're gonna get size for your swimsuits and your PT gear and like undergarments and stuff like that, like stuff that you really need or will need the first 2 to 3 weeks of your Navy experience. So you're gonna get fitted for all of that stuff. You're gonna get some hygiene stuff that they give you. You're gonna be allowed to buy some stuff at the next exchange. What else? You're gonna do your initial height and weigh-in. So by me saying that, they're gonna tell you when you leave MEPS, I'm telling you because they did it to me. When you leave MEPS, they're gonna tell you, hey, I'm giving you this amount of money. Make sure you eat at the airport before you get to MEPS. Now, yes, you can eat. Yes, go ahead and eat. Keep in mind though, that if you are already on the borderline of that weight requirement, I'm not saying they're gonna freaking separate you if you don't meet your height and weight, if you don't meet your weight requirements, but if you are already teetering that line, I would not go and order freaking 5 Big Macs from McDonald's because you will be weighed as soon as you get off that bus and go to night of arrival. I'm just telling you because nobody told me, and I definitely had McDonald's that night. So just keep that in mind. So after you do all of that, they're gonna put you back on the bus, and then you're gonna go do your 2 weeks quarantine. Now this is where all of your questions come into play. Let's talk about the actual ROM. So ROM, that first night, you're not gonna go to sleep. Just remember that. You're not gonna go to sleep. Do not let anyone catch you sleeping or you will be annoyed. I'm not gonna say you're gonna get in trouble because they can't beat you. However, they will find some way to make you miserable. So you're not gonna go to sleep that first night. Hygiene, you're not gonna shower until later on that day. So you're pretty much gonna go a good amount of time without taking a shower. So if you can find some way to freaking go brush your teeth in the morning, please go do that. Save your fellow recruit mates the trouble of dealing with bad breath and bad body odor. It gotta be one or the other. It can't be both. So you're gonna get there. You're gonna do, honestly, what we did when we got there, we literally didn't do anything. I couldn't remember what time we got there. I remember it was early in the morning. So it had to, I'm gonna say it's been somewhere between 2 and maybe 4, maybe. It was like really early in the morning. So we got there, we got assigned our racks, we unpacked our bags, and we literally sat there for hours. And that's it. We sat there for hours. We got our first meal at 12:35. That's another thing. You're gonna get a bag meal. They're gonna say, eat that on the way to ROM. That is gonna be your breakfast. So once you eat that bag meal in the middle of the night, you're not gonna eat again until lunch. So be prepared to be hungry. One way I say you fight that hunger is by drinking water. They're gonna tell you to drink water all the time, but especially at that time, make sure you drink water. So we had lunch around like 12:30, 1300, and then came back. We were allowed to finally hygiene, and again, we didn't do anything. So honestly, that's how pretty much most of your days are gonna go at ROM. You're gonna have a whole day. The highlights of your day will be breakfast chow, lunch chow, dinner chow. Then somewhere between lunch and dinner chow, you're gonna have hygiene. Those are the key points of your day. Eventually, some RDCs, because I heard that there were RDCs that did not do this, some RDCs will play you training videos so you can kind of have some idea of what you're going into when you go to RTC. So they'll teach you some lessons. They'll go over some lessons and stuff. But the lessons that you're gonna go over, the lessons that we went over at ROM were the same things that we went over when we got to boot camp. So for the first couple weeks of boot camp, we already knew all the lessons and assignments because we had did it in ROM. However, there are going to be some RDCs that are not like that. You'll have RDCs that just go up in there, whatever, and then just stay in there all day until it's time to come out and take you to go eat, and then they'll go back in their room. It really just depends on what RDC you have. The RDC you have at ROM is going to dictate how your ROM is going to go. Like my RDC, she was chill, she was funny. She trained us, or she made sure that we knew our stuff, so that by the time we got to RTC, we weren't screwed over. And honestly, I'm grateful for that because I knew what I was doing when I got there for the most part. So what were some other questions that I got? What can you do at ROM? You can bring a personal book. You can bring crossword puzzles. You can bring some items. I want to say they gave you like up to two or 3 items. So the way they do it is whatever you can fit into your sea bag that doesn't affect already all that other crap that you have in there, you can bring it. Keep in mind though, okay, it may fit in your sea bag. However, when you get to RTC, if you make it that far, because I know some people that did not make it that far, if you do make it to RTC, whatever you brought with you, you're gonna have to put it in your locker. And depending on your RDC, if you have an asshole RDC, then they may or may not allow you to keep it in a locker in the office if it does not fit, or they may just tell you to toss it out. Yeah, honestly, again, it depends on your RDC. So yes, you can bring your own personal reading materials or crossword puzzles. No, you cannot bring gaming devices. This is not that type of party. No, you cannot bring a computer. No, you cannot have your phone. So talking about phone calls, the phone calls in ROM are going to be similar. They're not the same. Every situation is different, but it's going to be kind of the same manner as it will be in boot camp. So at ROM, you don't get any phone calls, and you actually don't get to send letters. You can write letters. Of course you can write letters, but you can't send them out. You can't send them out until you get to boot camp. Phone calls are going to matter. They're going to depend on circumstances. So if you have a circumstance where you have to call home, or there's some kind of personal emergency or something like that, they will find time to give you a phone call if it is an emergency, like somebody is either dying or they're dead. That's honestly pretty much the only way that you're gonna get a phone call. Or if you talk to a chaplain. I can't really speak too much on the chaplain situations because I've never gone to see a chaplain to get a phone call, so I don't really know how that works. But I've heard if you go and you need, like, it has to be a really, really, really good reason to go see a chaplain and make a phone call home. You might get a phone call. Let's see, what else? Can you exercise at ROM? Yes, you can. One, you can't do group PT. So if you become cool with the people that are on your deck, then don't try to PT with them. The people in your squad, you may be able to do some group things. Like, really, the only things you could probably do would be planks, push-ups, squats, maybe. You can do stuff like that. You could possibly maybe do jumping jacks, maybe run in place. Depends on how heavy footed you are. If you're gonna be like shaking the whole building and making all this noise, I would suggest you not do it. Find another way to get some cardio or hit in. But yes, you can work out in ROM. Like I said before in my other video, if you haven't seen it, I'll put a little thingy over there so you guys can freaking watch it. But like I mentioned before, your biggest ally in ROM is going to be watching what you eat. So if you're the type of person that's going to freaking go there all the time and eat all this crap that's not really good for you, then by the time you get to RTC and take your baseline PFA, you're probably going to fail, I'm gonna be honest with you. And if you got that $2,000 bonus, I would suggest you watch what you eat if you're trying to get that $2,000 when you leave RTC. Just saying, but do what you want. So yeah, so you can exercise, but really you're just gonna be able to do push-ups and planks and core stuff that don't require a lot of movement, or that are gonna minimize the chances of you getting hurt, because as ROM, you're not fit for full duty, so they don't know medically how much you can or cannot do. Even though you did all that stuff at MEPS and RTC, they operate on two different levels. So MEPS just gets you in the door. That says you're good enough to get into the door. But once you're in the door, they don't know if you're good enough to actually be in the door, if you get what I'm saying. So even though you're at ROM, you made it through, whatever, you have to wait until you get to RTC for them to decide whether or not you are physically capable of doing what the military needs you to do. And because of that, they will not allow you to do too much at ROM. Once in a while, I don't know about now because it's cold now, you may be able to go on nature walks. That's what they call them. It's for us to walk around the base to get fresh air. They're called nature walks. You may be able to do that, but like I said, I don't know what the weather is like now. I know I'm here in Florida and it's freaking cold. It's cold as fuck down here. So I know it's way colder up there. So I don't really know how that situation is gonna work. But definitely, you know, my tips for getting through ROM and being able to still pass your PFA, you definitely wanna keep your core tight. So do a whole bunch of core work, do push-ups, and hydrate. I cannot stress that enough. Drink your water. It is not just so you don't pass out, but drinking water does a lot more for your body than you would think it would. And I'm telling you this because before I came to boot camp, I hated running. I sucked so bad at running. My 1.5 was damn near 20 minutes. It might have been over at one time. But I really sucked at running. And when I took my baseline PFA, I only missed it by 15 seconds. Granted, I am an older female, so my time was pretty much 16 minutes. It was 15:45. But I missed it. I missed it by 15 seconds. See what I'm saying? And that's just because I kept on top of my water and I watched what I ate. I did way better. If you're curious, I did way better. I did a lot better than the alpha class females who are like 18 years of age. I ran way faster than them by the time I finished boot camp. So guys, if you suck at running, you'll get better. If you take it seriously, don't worry. But yeah, at ROM, eat good, work out to the best of your ability, and drink water. So aside from the physical stuff, I'm gonna talk about the educational stuff that you really need to pay attention to. So I wish I still had my book. I threw it out. Don't be like me when you get out of boot camp. Be a better sailor. So when you make videos for future sailors, they actually know what you're talking about. But we had this little training guide. It was like literally like maybe this big. It was like this thick. It wasn't anything crazy. But at ROM, you will be focusing on about 1, 2, 3, I'll say roughly 5 pages in that training guide. So the first 2 weeks when you're at ROM in your whole Navy career, you will be really paying attention to your chain of command, rank and recognition, which is collar devices, officers, ranks, obviously, like E1 to E9, O1, O10. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're in the DEP program, I suggest you Google it. However, it is in your start guide. So pay attention to that. So chain of command, rank and recognition, general orders is a key one. I can do a video on general orders. If you would like to see one, leave a comment down below and I can help some people in depth make it make sense. If you want to do that. I know when I was in DEP program, I used to be at work and I had my headphones in and I would just listen to general orders on repeat on my headphones, and then when I got to ROM, I would just write it out over and over until I remembered it. It sounds dumb and it sounds stupid, but trust me, how the fastest way that you can remember it for yourself, do that, because it's gonna help you. Do that with your chain of command. I would Google it before you get to DEP so you have an idea. It might change because it changes constantly, but if it does change, your RDCs will let you know, but make sure you know it before you get to boot camp. And I feel like I'm missing something. And your Sailor's Creed. So Sailor's Creed is actually a really big thing. At least I know for us here, my rate, we say it every morning at school. So, you know, they take that really serious. You're in the Navy, the Sailor's Creed is pretty important, so make sure you know it. I think that's it for that. But yeah, if you guys need any videos about the educational purposes points, then leave a comment down below and I can make a whole separate video on that. But that's really much it at ROM. There's literally, you don't do anything for 2 weeks. You sit there, you study, and you can. I would suggest getting to know. I'm not saying become friends, because you're going to boot camp to graduate. Please keep that in mind, because I think that, you know, some people, especially younger people, they forget that, you know, they go to ROM, they go to boot camp to make friends. And yes, it's good to make friends. However, your #1 goal at boot camp is to graduate and leave a sailor. So when you're at ROM, be cordial, you know, make some friends. You are going to be living with the same 18 to 20 people for the next 2 weeks. You're going to be sharing a shower. You're going to be eating all your meals. You're going to be spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with the same 18 to 20 people. You don't want it to be bad vibes or anything. You know, somebody freaking tries to strangle you in your sleep or something. Not saying that they do that, but, you know, you want it to be a comfortable environment. So get to know the people that are around you. However, keep in mind that you are here to graduate. So don't go over there and be telling all your personal information unless you're that type of person. And by all means, do you, boo-boo. But, you know, keep it to, just remember why you're there. What else? My ROM experience was, this video is actually getting pretty long. I'm gonna end it with this. My ROM experience was actually pretty chill. I like to think I'm the same person I was at ROM now, except I'm a little more open. I can talk to people more. When I first came in, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was that person that was always, you know, my head was in the book. I was quiet, just observing, but that's just who I was. I still do that, but I can talk a little bit more when I need to. But yeah, my ROM experience was pretty cool. I ended up being a Charlie quad leader, which means I was in charge of my quad, the 4 other people that I had to share a living space with. And I ended up being an alternate for the deck, an alternate deck leader, because the alpha quad leader kept fucking up sometimes. So I happened to be the alternate, so I stepped in sometimes. The girls were cool. Again, I was one of the oldest people. I wasn't the oldest at the time because there was one girl who was older than me and another girl who was the same age. So, you know, I did have a group of people that were in the same age range as me. The older girl is actually still my friend. She's here right now with me. But yeah, so, you know, I did make some friends that I still talk to. Everybody in my deck, actually everyone in my building ended up being in my division. So I kind of already knew most of the people that I ended up starting my boot camp training with. So, you know, you kind of want to build some type of friendship, but, you know, just so you know what type of people that you're going to be going into training with. Because at the end of the day, those six or I think it's 8 weeks again. So those next 8 weeks that you're going to be spending with those people, and it's not going to be the same people. People are going to get ROM. They're going to get set back. You're going to have people come in and you're going to have people leave. But for the most part, the people that you're going to do your ROM with, get to know them to the extent that, you know, when it comes to training or when it comes to doing drills or when it comes to, you know, little stuff like that, you want to know who has your back and who doesn't have your back. You want to know what type of people are going to get you fucking dropped, which means they're going to, you know, work you out to death, or what kind of people are going to do what they need to do so you can have an easy day. Kind of assess the situation and really just prepare. Just mentally prepare yourself to do what you got to do to get out of boot camp. And yes, COVID does help make boot camp a little bit easier. There are some things that they will not do at boot camp because of COVID, which kind of just makes it like a little more relaxed from what I hear. But, you know, just because it's going to be easier physically doesn't mean it's going to be easier mentally for some people. So just get yourself together, get your mind right, get your body right as best you can, and just, you know, get through it. But yeah, so that's ROM. I hope that I was able to answer some questions that you may have about what's going to happen when you get to ROM. If I didn't, please leave a comment down below and I will do my best to answer them. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions about boot camp and what it was like for me, leave a comment down below and I will answer it. I'm actually going to make another separate video about what it was like to be in a leadership position at boot camp. And yeah, so stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. I think my pizza's here, so I'm about to chat out. Peace.
I like to keep it humble, but sometimes I like to flex, keeping eyes on all of my chest. What you expect, I keep it real.